This is Into the Multiverse with Josh Peck.
Hey everybody, welcome to Into the Multiverse. I am your host, Josh Peck, and I gotta tell you, it is good to be back. So, for those of you who are unfamiliar, don't know the situation, because the last episode of Into the Multiverse kind of ended abruptly, and there wasn't any explanation, at least not on this channel. On the Skywatch TV channel there was, but if you're not subscribed there, then you wouldn't have received that. Basically what happened is my 5-year-old son, Nathan, was diagnosed with a rare form of T-cell leukemia, and we had to last minute rush to St. Jude's for his treatment. So that was 3 months ago. Now the good thing is, so I've been out of it for 3 months. The good thing is he is in remission. Nathan is in remission. Those of you who have kept up on the situation and who have been praying, I want to give a big thank you. He went into remission very quickly. He's going to be fine. He is still undergoing treatment to make sure that the cancer doesn't come back. That's going to be a few years. That's going to happen for a few years down the line. But the good news is he is in remission. And I am back at Skywatch now. Everything's relatively back to normal, and we can start doing Into the Multiverse again. So that is just real brief. That should catch you up. Now, we've got some exciting things to talk about today having to do with black holes and dark matter. If you haven't had a chance to do so, make sure you subscribe to this channel and click on the bell for notifications. Also, in case YouTube doesn't notify you, then barring some sort of extreme emergency, you will get a new episode of Into the Multiverse every Thursday morning at 9 a.m. Central. So, let's talk about the story today. A former NASA insider has shockingly claimed a miniature black hole could be churning away deep inside of the Earth. So on April 10th this year, scientists have unveiled the world's very first photo of a giant black hole at the heart of a distant galaxy. The black hole was pictured in the center of the galaxy Messier 87, more than 53 million light years from the Earth, a distance of just an extraordinary amount of miles. But there is one scientist who believes there could be a black hole much, much closer to the Earth. Louise Riefro, who formerly worked with NASA and predicted the speed of light is slowing down, believes a black hole could be hiding right beneath our feet. Now, appearing on the paranormal YouTube channel Third Phase of the Sun, .com, the scientist argued the black hole is the source of Earth's tectonic activity. She says, quote, billions of years ago, Earth would have formed around this tiny black hole, just as a pearl forms around a grain of sand. That black hole would be responsible for generating Earth's internal heat, which causes volcanoes and earthquakes, but also has caused our island to form. And the black hole would also generate the magnetic field, which protects us from the radiation of space. So there's no need to fear black holes. Our planet might not exist if not for them. And in the future, they could be an immense source of energy, something as revolutionary as nuclear power was in the last century, end quote. So according to this scientist, the black hole would be no bigger than a grain of sand on the beach, but the black hole's immense weight would be equal to that of the moon. The scientist then went on to explain why there's no danger and no reason to fear such tiny black holes on Earth. She said, quote, we're fascinated by CERN, the giant accelerator they've built in Europe, and one concern was, it would produce tiny black holes. But don't worry, even if they did produce a tiny black hole, it wouldn't suck us up. In fact, even if there were a tiny black hole on this table, it wouldn't suck us up, and that's just simple mathematics. If you find a tiny black hole, it wouldn't bother you. It would just sink to the bottom of the Earth and join the black hole already there, end quote. Now, black holes are monstrous wells of gravity created when dying stars spend all of their fuel. When a star's spent core collapses in on itself, vast amounts of material are squeezed into an incredibly small amount of space. The result is a source of gravity that's so powerful, it warps the time-space around it and sucks everything in, including light, past its so-called event horizon. Now, NASA explained, quote, the idea of an object in space so massive and dense that light could not escape has been around for centuries. Most famously, black holes were predicted by Einstein's theory of general relativity, which showed that when a massive star dies, it leaves behind a small, dense remnant core. If the core's mass is more than about 3 times the mass of the sun, the equation showed the force of gravity overwhelms all other forces and produces a black hole, end quote. Now, until recently, scientists have not been able to observe a black hole in space, but have now managed to map the event horizon's edge with radio telescopes. The incredible achievement was made by an international collaboration of scientists known as the Event Horizon Telescope. Astronomers around the globe daisy-chained together 8 radio telescopes to create a single powerful tool for observations. The scientists have spent 2 years gathering observations of the M87 black hole and Sagittarius A at the heart of the Milky Way galaxy. Now, it'll still take some time before the Sagittarius A image is resolved because there's a lot of stars and material obscuring a direct line of sight at the black hole. But what would happen if the sun itself turned into a black hole? Many people have wondered that. Now, according to NASA, if the dying sun was compressed down enough to become a black hole, it would only measure less than 4 miles or 6 kilometers across. The sun is located roughly 93 million miles from the Earth. So odds are that the planet would remain safe, surprisingly. NASA actually commented on this and said, quote, "It would exert no more gravitational force on the Earth or the other planets in the solar system than it does now." Why? Because it would contain no more matter than it does now, and it would be no closer to the planets than it is now, end quote. So how are black holes actually created? The most commonly accepted theory is black holes are made when large stars die and their burnout cores collapse in on themselves. When a giant star uses up all its fuel for the nuclear processes raging at its core, it's no longer able to support its own weight. According to astronomer Karen Masters, a star will then explode into a spectacular supernova and leave behind a neutron star or a black hole, depending on its initial mass. Now, the space expert said, quote, "To form a black hole, the mass left at the core after the explosion must be more than about 3 times the mass of the sun. The star, for most of its life, probably needs to be between 50 to 100 times the mass of the sun to eventually form a black hole," end quote. So as if black holes in the center of the Earth was bad enough, our galaxy may actually be filled with them. So the Milky Way could be packed to the brim with tens of thousands of these apocalyptic black holes. And this comes out in a shocking new study that was recently published last Wednesday. The study gravely warns that the galaxy might be filled with these things. A group of astrophysicists analyzed a set of X-rays blasted from the center of the galaxy in a hunt for black holes. With the help of NASA's Chandra X-ray Observatory, the scientists have found 12 black holes with masses similar to the stars surrounding the supermassive black hole Sagittarius A. But the scientists have admitted the estimates are much graver, with as many as 20,000 black holes out there in the vast depths of deep space. So Chuck Haley, the study's lead author and professor of physics at Columbia University, said that finding black holes in space is an arduous task for astronomers. He said, quote, "Isolated black holes just don't do much that would lend themselves to easy detection. That's why we say they are black. Sure, they eat gas and dust, but they are very lousy at converting this fuel into X-rays, which we can detect. But black holes with a stellar companion make X-rays. The star dumps gas into a disk around the black hole, and that disk is good at making X-rays," end quote. Now, according to the published study, as many as 20,000 black holes are predicted to settle around the center parsec of the galaxy as a result of the forces of dynamical friction. However, at the moment of density cusp, or localized increase in number, indicating that this presence has not yet been detected. Now, black holes, which are vast amounts of matter packed into really small areas, are typically 10 times larger than our own sun, but packed into an area roughly the diameter of New York City. Now, although scientists cannot directly observe black holes with the technology we currently possess, they can detect black holes by studying the matter around them. So, objects pulled into the inescapable gravitational pull of black holes will speed up, gain heat, and produce increased amounts of X-ray radiation into the space, which in turn our instruments can pick up. So astronomers believe a supermassive black hole sits at the center of the Milky Way called Sagittarius A, which we talked about just a moment ago. Professor Haley said, quote, "The Milky Way is really the only galaxy we have where we can study how supermassive black holes interact with little ones because we simply can't see their interactions in other galaxies. In a sense, this is the only laboratory we have to study this phenomenon." End quote. Now, according to the expert, there are only about 5 dozen known black holes in the entire galaxy, which spans an incredible width of 100,000 light years. But he added, quote, "And there are supposed to be 10 to 20,000 of these things in a region just 6 light years wide that no one has been able to find. There hasn't been much credible evidence," end quote. So the researchers now believe there are around 300 to 500 black hole low mass binaries surrounding Sagittarius A on top of about 10,000 isolated black holes. Professor Haley said that if astronomers can pinpoint the number of black holes at the galaxy's center, the finding will greatly benefit the advancement of gravitational wave research. However, that is all just in the part of our galaxy we can see. But what about the majority of it that's composed of dark matter? Now, this gets really interesting, something we've talked about quite often on this show, dark matter. According to a new theory, dark matter could harbor what's called shadow civilizations, which we are unable to see. Researchers have actually claimed this. What dark matter is remains a mystery, but it was first conceptualized in 1977 by scientists who suggested that the substance, which is thought to make up 85% of all matter in the universe, is responsible for all of the unseen matter in space. Its existence would go towards explaining why galaxies rotate and why they stick together rather than stars flying off in all directions. But now a team of Russian researchers have added more intrigue to one of the most curious cases in the history of the universe by saying dark matter could yield dark stars and shadow civilizations, which are completely invisible to us. Sort of sounds a little demonic, doesn't it? But with the current understanding of dark matter, it could be possible for the substance to clump together. And the team states this in a paper published in the journal Physical Review Letters. And this is where it gets tricky. Dark matter could also be made up of a plethora of particles which just do not interact with matter and particles in our own in our known universe. So this would mean that an entire universe could be invisible to us and residing within our universe as well. The researchers theorize that Bose stars, what's called Bose stars, could exist in the darkness surrounding galaxies. Physicist Dmitry Levkov from the Institute for Nuclear Research of the Russian Academy of Sciences said, quote, "In our work, we simulated the motion of a quantum gas of light gravitationally interacting dark matter particles," end quote. So to test this, the researchers wanted to understand how dark matter, Bose-Einstein condensate, could form. So put simply, a Bose-Einstein condensate, which we've talked about on this show before, a Bose-Einstein condensate in matter, we understand, is not dark matter. It's a state of matter consisting of gas and particles which are cooled to almost absolute zero. So the researchers wanted to understand if this could be achieved in dark matter. So in theory, a dark matter Bose-Einstein condensate could form under the intense gravitational pull of gravity and condense into superfluids. So Dr. Lekov said, quote, "We started from a viralized state with maximal mixing, which is kind of opposite to the Bose-Einstein condensate. After a very long period, 100,000 times longer than the time needed for a particle to cross the simulation volume, the particle spontaneously formed a condensate, which immediately shaped itself into a spherical droplet, a Bose star, under the effect of gravity. The next obvious step is to predict the number of the Bose stars in the universe and calculate their mass in models with light dark matter, end quote. And if these Bose stars do exist, it could open up a whole possibility of what else could reside in dark matter. This could include the possibility of shadow beings. Sort of reminds you of what people report seeing during sleep paralysis, shadow people. Maybe these things already exist. Maybe they're demonic. Now, theoretical physicist Lisa Randall states, quote, "It seems very odd to assume that all of dark matter is composed of only one type of particle. An unbiased scientist shouldn't assume that dark matter isn't as interesting as ordinary matter and necessarily lacks a diversity of matter similar to our own. An invisible civilization could be living right under your nose. Dark objects or dark life could be very close. But if the dark stuff's net mass isn't very big, we wouldn't have any way to know. Even with the most current technology, or any technology that we can currently imagine, only some very specialized possibilities might be testable. Shadow life, exciting as that would be, won't necessarily have any visible consequences that we would notice, making it a tantalizing possibility, but one immune to observations. In fairness, dark life is a tall order," end quote. We're going to be talking more about dark matter in next week's episode, where we'll get into the brand new particle collider that will actually smash matter and antimatter together, causing a burst of energy and total particle annihilation. That will be next week. But in the meantime, make sure you subscribe to this channel and don't forget to click the bell for notifications. As always, I want to know what you think about this. Please leave me a comment in the comment section below. Do you think these dark civilizations or shadow civilizations, do you think this is really just an example of science discovering or theorizing about the demonic realm? I'd love to know what you think. Leave me a comment in the comment section below. And again, thank you all so much for your prayers, your support, your encouragement, and everything you do. I honestly wouldn't be able to get through this difficult time without you. So thank you so much. Thank you all so much for joining me. And until next time, take care and God bless.
The harvest field is widening, and we have an unprecedented opportunity to reach a lost generation during what may be our final years here on Earth. Skywatch TV is proud to announce the Everyday Champions Ultimate Collection. This unbelievable collection includes Everyday Champions, where you'll discover the most overlooked spiritual gifts in the Bible. Learn to identify and operate in your own supernatural God-given gifting. Discover what Paul actually meant when he wrote about the uncomely parts of the body of Christ. You'll meet real-life champions whose small investments equal huge contributions to the kingdom of God. And I personally share my experiences in both authentic and superficial religious institutions. In this timely collection, you'll also receive the Everyday Champions 4-week Skywatch television series on DVD, including interviews with Allie Anderson, myself, Joe Horn, Derek Gilbert, Dr. Thomas Horn, and Donna Howell. But we're just getting started. You'll also receive Allie Anderson's new book, Unscrambling the Millennial Paradox, which is already being described as a definitive and urgent analysis regarding so-called unreachable millennials as key to the future of the church. You'll discover what devastating modern epidemics are sweeping our youth away from God, and what believers can do to intervene. How modern identity politics and economic stressors have robbed our youth of an opportunity to confront their destiny, and the real reason millennials are leaving the church, and what the body of Christ can do to reverse this trend before it's too late. This incredible collection also includes the Unscrambling the Millennial Paradox 13-week Teacher's Guide PDF on disc, perfect for small group discussion, church curricular use, teaching or preaching series, personal use, or education. But we're still not done. At Skywatch TV, we are committed to reaching this generation with solid biblical teaching, which is why we're including free, that's right, free, the beautiful, classically oversized, strong, systematic theology 3-volume set. These large books are perfect for the researcher in your life and hold a retail value all by themselves of $150. Yours now for a limited time, absolutely free when you order the Everyday Champions Ultimate Collection. Sold separately, this huge assortment holds a retail value of $250. Yours now for your donation of only $35 plus shipping and handling. Now's your chance to be part of what may be the greatest awakening the world has ever seen. Order the Everyday Champions Ultimate Collection online now at the Skywatch TV store or call 1-844-750-4985.